Now, finding a doctor is a little less challenging. United Health Group is investing in tools that make it easier for patients to navigate healthcare and pay less. These transparency tools help patients find providers, and this is the big thing: compare costs up front. The big picture? More transparent pricing benefits everyone. And these tools from United Health Group can help patients save hundreds of dollars annually. Learn more at unitedhealthgroup.com/commitment.
Few things are as uplifting as the greatest moments in sports. And nothing brings us together quite like Team USA at the Olympic Winter Games. From NBC Universal's iconic storytelling to the innovative technology across Xfinity and Peacock, Comcast brings the Olympic Games home to America, sharing every moment with millions. When Team USA steps onto the world stage, we're not just watching, we're cheering together. This winter, we're all on the same team. Comcast, proud partner of Team USA.
Last week, we talked about why college humanities majors like English, history, and philosophy are still valuable. The case for the humanities centers around the types of skills these fields develop, like how to interpret information, communicate clearly, and make sense of a world that's getting more complex by the day. This week, we're focusing on what life looks like post-graduation for these students. One of these people is Anna VanWingerden, a recent graduate of Columbia College, Chicago. She earned her bachelor's degree in English, along with minors in acting and education. For her, part of the appeal of an English major was that it didn't box her into one specific career path.
It is so broad, especially nowadays. I think, there maybe in the past this was more true, but I think there's this perception that all you're doing to get an English degree is reading a bunch of books and writing papers about them, which, is to a certain point, you do have to do that. But my experience at Columbia was very much not that. It is so focused on a well-rounded education to prepare you for a career in any facet of English, whether it's, writing. I had good friends go into publishing, PR, teaching. Some friends were, writing their own novels or working at magazines or becoming freelance authors.
But this open-ended path can be a double-edged sword as students approach the daunting task of figuring out their next steps after graduation. VanWingerden recalls nervously searching for internships during college that could help her build up some real-world experience.
It got to be, I think, maybe like the second summer of college, and I started to get a little worried, like, okay, what am I going to do with this degree? And I was going to be living at home over the summer, so I was looking for jobs or internships in my field just to kind of get some resume experience. And I found a company in my hometown they were looking for a PR intern for the summer, and their main specification was that they wanted a strong writer. So I, interviewed for that, submitted a bunch of writing samples and stuff, and did that internship. And I think that was something I kind of just stumbled into that because I needed something very specific. I needed a summer job in my field, in my hometown, and it just kind of worked out to be that it was in PR and communications. So I don't think that was something that was really on my mind of that's what I want to work in, that's what I'm interested in. It more kind of just happened.
That role eventually led her to pursue another internship in PR, which turned into a job in downtown Chicago after graduation. It wasn't a career path or an industry she necessarily planned on, but one that made use of her writing and communication skills, and for a while, it fit.
I just wanted a job so badly, and I had already kind of gotten to know this industry pretty well, so I felt comfortable and confident in kind of joining it full time upon graduating. And I think after about a year of doing that, I started to realize that while I was so thankful for everything I'd learned and for the opportunity I had to be in that space, I realized it maybe wasn't what I wanted to do for the next, 50 some years of my life.
And this is a common feeling for a lot of new graduates in this space. It's not as clear of a career path as, say, a pre-med or engineering student. Today, VanWingerden is working towards a master's degree in education at Loyola University Chicago and plans to teach English. And she's not alone in this shift. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American now changes jobs 10 to 12 times during their working life. Professor Carlo Rotella isn't surprised by the statistic. He's a professor of English at Boston College and the author of What Can I Get Out of This? Teaching and Learning in a Classroom Full of Skeptics.
Instead of saying, does this major pay off? I think it's better to say, does college pay off? And at this point, statistically, the answer is yes. And instead of trying to, pick a major with the same name as a job, it almost never works that way. Rather, try to get good at something. And while you're in college, also try to get yourself a well-rounded liberal arts education, bearing in mind that the liberal arts include math and science. I also like to point out to my students that the last 3 governors of Massachusetts, where I teach, were all English majors. Right? And instead of saying, well, there's one job you can get with a degree in English, instead think about how an interest in meaning, how an interest in the way language carries meaning in particular took them into the law, and that took them into politics, and that took them into this job.
Rotella gives us an example of one of his past English students who majored in creative writing while at Boston College. She was always driven to create and to build something meaningful in her career, but she discovered that those passions extended beyond writing.
While she was in college, she discovered she actually wanted to make things with her hands. So with her last remaining electives in her junior and senior year, she took design courses and ceramics courses, and she learned how to 3D print things, and she started hanging out at the Makerspace at Boston College. And she now has a job working for a company designing their online presence, right? So that's a job you can get with an English major. The way she got there was she's interested in the way that the form of something expresses its meaning. And it turns out that's what the marketing and communication people do, is find forms to express the meaning that the company's trying to express.
Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty about the future of work and what kind of jobs will be readily hiring in the next 5 or 10 years. Rotella says he doesn't have a crystal ball, but what he does know is this.
It's hard to envision a scenario in which people are not going to need the ability to judge the reliability of what they read and see and hear and make reasoned arguments and all those kind of basic skills that reading and writing impart. And for many reasons, in order to be a citizen, in order to be a worker, right? Those are still basic skills. And it's also true that as the avalanche of stuff coming at us out of our screens increases, because AI is increasing it, right? We need that faculty, that attribute, that ability to judge the reliability of what we're seeing, to understand the perspectives of others, those things you learn in humanities courses more than ever. And I'd like to point out that at the moment, if you look around at our society, we're kind of getting an F in those basic skills, right? Judging the reliability of what you read and understanding the perspectives of others are 2 things that we're extraordinarily bad at these days in American culture. The need for these skills is not going to evaporate.
VanWingerden agrees and feels that the rapid growth of tools like AI chatbots has only made her more certain that the humanities still matter.
With technology progressing so rapidly and evolving so fast, I think if we don't have the same progression in the arts and humanities, it sounds corny, but I think that's how we lose our humanity. I think that's when you get too close to those kind of sci-fi dystopian futures where everything is run by robots and AI and technology.
Despite the nebulous and uncertain path that comes with studying the humanities, VanWingerden says she would urge current high school students to stay open and keep a broad view.
I think I would always give the advice to go as broad as you can when you're young, because there's so much wiggle room. I think I was so of the mindset going through college. I did my degree in 3 years in college because I just had this mindset that I was behind and that I needed to rush through and be able to get a head start and, be ahead of the curve to be able to be successful in life. And I've ended up changing my mind so many different times within that. I changed my major, I changed my whole career trajectory, and it's only been a few years. So I think giving yourself the room to be able to experiment with different things, whether that's, tacking on minors just to be able to learn more or exist in different community spaces. I think just give yourself as many options as you can so that the opportunity is all that more plentiful, especially in a job market like the one we have today.
In the end, the most useful degree may not be the one that trains you for just one role. Instead, it might be the one that gives you room to pivot, reassess, and keep growing. To learn more about this topic and our guests, Professor Carlo Rotella and Anna VanWingerden, visit viewpointsradio.org. This story was written by our executive producer, Amirah Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jay Silvers. I'm Gary Price.
Few things are as uplifting as the greatest moments in sports. And nothing brings us together quite like Team USA at the Olympic Winter Games. From NBC Universal's iconic storytelling to the innovative technology across Xfinity and Peacock, Comcast brings the Olympic Games home to America, sharing every moment with millions. When Team USA steps onto the world stage, we're not just watching, we're cheering together. This winter, we're all on the same team. Comcast, proud partner of Team USA.
At Nature's Bounty, the belief is simple. You already have a brilliant body. Supplements just help support your journey. For over 50 years, Nature's Bounty has offered vitamins and supplements to help you eat, sleep, thrive, repeat. From magnesium glycinate for heart and muscle support to hair growth capsules for fuller, thicker hair. And probiotics with 20 billion live cultures for digestion. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature to thrive. Learn more at naturesbounty.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.